up, everybody? It's been a while, but I'm back, and today I'm going to be dropping a video for the advanced class. This is going to be how to do pitch shifting pops and make them quick using split hand technique. So you saw one example, and that tends to be how I use these type of fills. Usually it'll be to accentuate a transition between two different beats, or sort of a climax in a song, or in a drum solo, or maybe even the end of a song. Here is another example of a fill using similar principles. And here's another example. Now this video relies on a lot of other techniques that hopefully you've already learned and that I've covered in other tutorials, so I'll put links up to those. For example, you need to know, of course, left hand split hand technique, most importantly. But also you're going to need to know how to do pops and how to do flicks. Now you can link to those tutorials, or if you don't want to do those, you can always substitute a tech or a ka or a doom or whatever other hit you feel works for what you want to do with that particular passage. That's totally cool. The thing about split hand technique is it tends to take quite a few hours of practice to master, but once you get it, it's really effortless and you can play fast and strong and hard without using very much energy. It's an incredibly efficient technique. You might think about it this way. With traditional technique, where you're just using your ring finger on your left hand for the ka, you have to go down and then up, and then that is just one ka. But with split hand, different people do it different ways. Some people do an up-down where the down is a hit and the up is a hit. The other way is sort of a back and forth, like a pendulum swinging. And the way I do it is a little bit more like the pendulum, but there's also a little bit of up and down in there. So you can play with the up-down and the back-forth with your split hand to figure out what works best for you. And I usually start left-hand split hand with my pointer finger and just alternate between the pointer and the ring. So it's pointer, ring, pointer, ring, pointer, ring, and on and on and on. Occasionally I might start with my ring finger. The ring finger hit is a little bit louder sometimes. It's easier to get a loud hit with it, so there might be cases where I start with that. But I would say 9 times out of 10 I would start with my pointer finger and then just go back and forth. So that pendulum swing goes something like this. If you think of the drum as a clock face, here's 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I like to do my left-hand split hand around 12 o'clock, so right at the top of the drum here. And sometimes maybe you'll drift over to 1 o'clock, and that's totally fine, but it's something to be mindful of. Another thing to keep in mind is the angle of your hand and your wrist in relation to the rim of the drum. Now, the most obvious way to do it would probably be to be perpendicular. So the drum is on this plane. If your hand were perpendicular, it would be like this, like a plus sign in relation to the head of the drum. That doesn't work quite as well, at least for me. What I like to do is get a little different angle. So my wrist, I would push it this way, angle, watch this, like that, okay? Just like that. So it's not quite perpendicular. And what that does is it means my knuckles are aligned with this groove here of the drum, where the head or the ring meets the rest of the body. My knuckles align with that, and that gives me a comfortable position to be able to do split hand. Now there are a lot of different ways that people do pops, and I cover those in another tutorial. I show 4 different kinds of pops. The thumb pop is the one that I find to be most useful for pitch changing pops. You can make it work with the others probably, and people do, and that works fine for them, but with the thumb pop, I find that the easiest slide and to get consistent moving over the face of the drum. So I do recommend using that for these techniques. Alright, let's look at the first fill. In this fill, I like to throw a harmonic pop on the end, and that's real easy to do. All it is you start in the thumb pop position, which is having this part of your thumb against the drum skin, and then you just do this. You just bend your thumb 90 degrees or so to get that angle, and then it's just this little bit here that's contacting the drum. I'm going to start out with a starter version of it that doesn't use any quick split hand, but it's just basic alternating pointer ring, pointer ring, pointer ring on the left hand, okay? Sounds something like this. And here's the more advanced version that uses some quicker split hand. Alright, here's the second fill. This one, this is going to be a starter version of this fill. It starts with a flick and does some descending pops and then ends in a doom. Often when I'm doing a pop at the end of a flick, I tend to use my ring finger. I don't know why, maybe because it's a little bit stronger, but that means I'm going ring, pointer, rather than pointer, ring, pointer, ring. The point is, it's alternating, and you can try starting with your ring, you can try starting with your pointer, and just figure out what's more comfortable with you, because if it sounds good, it is good. And here's the fancier version of that lick using some quicker split hand. Alright, and here's the last lick I'm going to show you. This is a lick using some ascending pops. And I start with the pointer finger on this one, on the left hand, and just alternate. And I like to throw a harmonic pop on the end of this one as well. Here's another tip for your split hand. If you find that it's difficult because the fingers of your left hand are like sticky, they're sticking together, maybe they're sweaty or something, baby powder. Great stuff. It's just super helpful. You put it on your hands, you can put a little bit on your drum even, on the skin of the drum, on the rim of the drum where your hands are making contact with it, and it just makes everything glide beautifully. I sometimes use it at shows because it shows usually you're somewhere that's hot, you're a little nervous because you're performing, and you start getting sweaty and your fingers just stick and the split hand doesn't work as well. Put a little baby powder on there and it just glides beautifully. Alright, and that is pitch changing pops with split hand. I hope you liked this video. If it was useful to you, please click like, please subscribe to me if you haven't already, and tell me what you thought in the comments. Alright, see you in the next video.